Tonight, I wanted to come to you with something that I've been thinking about for a while. But like a lot of things that we discuss here, it can have unintended ramifications, unintended consequences, and it can be taken the wrong way or the right way, but maliciously by some people. And that's okay. I think by now, if you're here with me, you know this is a place where I like to discuss. Well, for people who are new, I'm back in the game. YusefWateef. Here, I talk a lot about money, finance, financial strategies. I love cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. I talk a lot about world travel, countries I've lived in, countries my friends have lived in, what it's like. I focus a lot on living here in Brazil, where I've been for a few years. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Look me up if you're headed to town. And I also have a lot of big discussions with my friends, because my friends come from this huge network of people that also live fairly amazing lives. They lead these lives that most people don't get to, and we appreciate it, and we try to share it with people, and the how-tos and the tips and tricks that got us where we are. I want to share a life experience with you through two different mediums, both of them actually being fiction, using fictional stories to get a real point across. And the cornerstone of all of it is something that one of my greatest mentors said to me. He said, success is being able to provide the people you love with the things that you want them to have. That's something we can agree on. He didn't say family or friends. He said the people you love. And as I go into this, I want everybody here, if you haven't yet, click the subscribe button and the thumbs up button and the bell. Because even if you don't like what I'm about to say now, I talk about so many different things, and I'm sure something will come up that you do enjoy. I also tell people, don't worry about saying subscribe forever. If after a month of watching what I talk about, what my friends and I talk about, it's not for you, that's okay. You can unsubscribe. If I upset you tonight, that's okay. What I say next time may be less upsetting, but it might also be not as interesting to you, but I try to cover a couple of things really well. So I say click that subscribe and the thumbs up and the bell, because I might make you upset now, and I just want you to be here later. The first example is from an amazing comic book that was penciled by a man named Tradd Moore. And it's about a man named Luther Strode. Lutherstrode. Here, let me show you a few pictures. Now, Tradd Moore, the artist, not the writer, but the artist, has done some amazing work with a pencil. The art may not be for you, but I want you to get a chance. And, oh, hey, Naim, I didn't even see you in there. Thank you for popping up. I'm glad you're here. Uncle Ladrunius. You got to tell me, is that Latin? Am I speaking that the right way? Thank you so much. And Naima, the awesome all-star cheerleader. Thanks. If everybody wants to support the channel, this is how you do it, and I appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Kelly is coming with threats tonight. You cut the mustache and I'm out of here. I don't know how I feel about that. That's a lot of pressure to put on a man with a mustache. Let's do this. First, I'm going to show you a picture so you can get it into your head, something to give you a visual reference. That's Luther Strode. You see him as this amazing guy with a clever mask here, but that's where he started. This kid, that guy right there, named Luther Strode. Not the most socially adroit, muscular, or influential man in the world. But this story begins the way a lot of stories begins. It begins with him looking for a way to become stronger. Now, stronger has a lot of connotations, but for the first part of the story, he wants to become stronger physically. And like a lot of people, he went into magazines and found a fitness article, and without giving away the plot of the story, he finds something called the Hercules, what is it called? The Hercules method. And it tells you that through this really weird set of exercises and meditation techniques that don't make any sense to someone trying to grow muscles, you will over time become more muscular, stronger, faster. Basically, you'll become a superhero version of yourself. But he had nothing else to lose. He was unpopular, not physically dominant, didn't have confidence. What did he have to lose by sending away a little bit of money for it? The crazy thing is that by this unique set of skills that you acquire, meditating in a certain position, that he goes from not doing a push-up to doing meditation while balancing on one finger with this enormously muscular body to show for it, that becomes more than muscular. It becomes almost superhuman. And he does what everybody in the stories do. He stops the bad guys, catches the bad guys, takes a couple of bullets that don't faze him. And that's when things start to get even more and more interesting. Because one day, and this is where I'm going to stop telling you the main story, because I want you to go find this. If you're looking for a link of where to get this book online, I'm not going to post that here. Email me, YusefWateef@gmail.com, and I'll give you a copy. He's the strongest man that he knows, doing the most amazing things that he knows, until a situation pops up and another guy meets him and proceeds to curb stomp his face into the ground. Just this unbelievable ass whooping he took. And he learned a valuable lesson, because one of the lessons he had to learn, and this is where I'm going to pivot into the second story, but I'm going to give you that cornerstone. He said, I can't believe this is happening, in not so many words, but the real lesson he learned is that, why did he believe that just because he was disciplined enough to learn how to become powerful and was a good guy, that somehow power would abstain from allowing itself to be made available to a bad guy? I'm gonna let that sink for a second. Too many good guys think that A, being good is enough, and B, if you become good and strong, there should be nothing that stops you, until you meet the bad guy who was just as disciplined as you were. That's when the story gets really meaty. Then it's some great reading. Whether or not you like comic books or graphic novels, the way that story is written is phenomenal, and I want you to. Now here, I'm going to take a pivot to something totally different. I'm going to take a pivot to what is arguably the greatest movie ever done. It goes under two names. Some of them start with Berry Gordy, but most people simply know it as The Last Dragon. If you have not seen this movie, again, stop what you're doing, because you're not living right. Okay? You need to go see this movie. Two people that came out of that movie that were huge. One, by the way, this is Vanity. I believe she's dead now. And this is Ty-Mac, young, handsome martial artist that essentially played the hero, Bruce Lee-esque character in this movie. And the second person, who has arguably become far more famous through this role than even the hero, was the late Julius Carry. He played the Shogun of Harlem, It's Okay to Laugh, and his name was Show Nuff. S-H-O space N-U-F-F. You see, this story starts from the opposite side of the tracks. This story starts with the bad guy having all the power in the world. As a matter of fact, you become so powerful, if you have the discipline to learn, that your body becomes encased in a supernatural glow. And when you hit people, it sends electricity through your fingers into them. And he is a terrible person. And in the movie, the young kid, Bruce Leroy is his name, is trying to figure out, how could someone so evil have the glow? Everyone knows what the glow is, but why would the glow allow itself to go to someone who's a bad person? Trick question, and that's what gets us to the crux of tonight's topic. You see, the glow doesn't go to a good person. or a bad person. The glow simply goes to whoever has the discipline to do it. Whoever has the discipline to get what they want can later on decide to be good or bad. And there we go. And once you understand that about life, that discipline and becoming stronger give you the ability to become good or bad. Otherwise, you're simply inconsequential. It's easy to say you're a good person when you can do nothing to impact or influence the world around you. When you're totally powerless, it's easy to say, I'm one of the good guys. It's easy to say I'm one of the bad guys if you're not actually out there doing bad guy stuff. What I have found is I may not know a super secret magical formula for physical discipline, but I know I can go lift some simple weights and train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to give myself physical power. I know I'm not a genius. I know that all the things I learned about financial discipline and becoming a financial professional to help others that got me semi-retired very early in life were things that anyone can learn with discipline. And when I find people who haven't found the discipline to have what they want in life becoming angry at me for doing it, I remind them, I'm not a good man, I'm a disciplined man. Why don't you learn discipline, become my equal, my contemporary, and then you can insult me? Nobody wants to do that. You see, where we are right now, excuse me. Oh, okay, it looks like, okay, some of you know who Bruce Leroy is. Yeah, that's that who's the baddest, who's the meanest. I'll give you guys a little tip. That's actually my ringtone to my phone. And when we go back to the nature of power, when you have power, when you have become strong, you can do things and call yourself a good person. Lifting weights is fun. It's aesthetically pleasing. I like to call myself strong, but I'll tell you when it really mattered. A pipe burst on the top floor of my apartment building in someone's apartment who wasn't home, and it flooded down the elevator shaft. So the elevator was off 2 hours at most. But see, being strong let me carry my groceries upstairs, go back downstairs, and mumble through my Portuguese to some old ladies that I wasn't making them run, that they could stay as long as they wanted. But I said, what floor are you on? And I took their grocery bags out of their hands and walked them up 12, sometimes 11, sometimes 10 flights of stairs. Then I'd go back down, and if I saw any other old people that lived in my building, I hauled their stuff up. That's when it felt good to be strong. It felt real good to be strong. It felt good to be strong when I was on a train in Japan. And it was like something out of a bad movie. Girl sitting alone, reading a book. Two guys sit a little too close, say something to her obscene. She shies away, she moves. They move and sit next to her again. She moves a third time to go sit down, and instead of them getting to her, I sat next to them. I told her, wait a minute, and then I just looked at them. Now they're in a situation, how far do you want to go with this? And by the way, don't try this in the United States. People got guns in America. It's easy to be a physical tough guy every place else in the world. In America, people get shot. Other countries, if you can handle yourself physically, you've got a much better chance at being a good guy. And so I say to people, do the things necessary to get what you want so you can protect yourself and others. Financially, I'm not rich. I just have no debt. And I was able to teach others how to have no debt. Some people get mad at me about saying I have no debt. Some people get really upset when I argue with them and I tell them that there are a lot of ways to skin a cat, but my way to skin a cat was making sure I had zero debt in life. One of the ways I did, actually, I did a post about it, and I'll show you guys. It was called Credit Card Hell, where 5 of us sat down together and, several of my friends proceeded to give me a verbal beating about why I was wrong and how, credit can sometimes be a good thing. And I said, there are many ways to skin a cat, but what gives me the time to take out of my day to just give people the information I have is because I did something small like that. I lived with no credit, freed myself financially. Now I can just take the time out of my day to say, no, I don't want any money from you. I'm just going to show you how I did it. Right here. I want everybody to go look at that later. It's called Credit Card Hell. Right there. Credit Card Hell. One of the things that I want to emphasize is that I'm not good at very many things. If you can become good at one or two things, and I always say one physical and one mental, which you'll eventually learn without getting all crazy on you, you'll learn that there's no real difference. Just learning one thing. If you want to learn lifting weights or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or boxing or ballet or yoga or Pilates, don't learn CrossFit. It's just, I hate CrossFit. It's just a stupid sport. It's not even a sport. The degenerates who stole from all the other sports and they just bootleg everything. I hate CrossFit. If anybody wants to get mad, you're welcome to come and talk to me about it. But when you learn one thing, just one thing, and do really good at it, like for me, I'm not good at a lot of things. I'll give you guys a hint. I don't have as many social skills as you think I do. But because I'm physically competent and financially competent, it kind of makes up for it. People tend to overlook certain things when they look at me and say, but yeah, he's really good at a few things, this and this. Because newsflash, most people, particularly most men, aren't good at anything at all. It is so easy right now in 2020 to look like a superhero by not being fat and not having credit card debt. 100 years ago, you had to go fight in a war, stop a bad guy with your bare hands like Cory Booker, do some crazy shit to be a hero. Now, so few people have any discipline at all that having the discipline to get good at something, be it physical, mental, financial, you just get to be a superhero. And Brother David has joined the fray. David?
Hey, Yusef, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Life is good. I hear you crisp and clear. You got a good speaker going there, my friend. Everybody remembers Brother David. He's a very dear friend to me. Brother in academics. He loves to read and discuss philosophy. Grand chess player, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, ace.
Good to hear from you. On a side note, just to let you know, our good friend Mark Lehman is back teaching again, man. He's got a place in Wisconsin. I think I'm gonna go find him. So that's where he's from. So
yeah, for those who don't know, Dave and I met training at Cobra Kai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy, Las Vegas, Nevada. Shout out to Simgo. Shout out to the Shapiro brothers. If you want some quality get down, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, shout out to Sonny Nohara. That's where you go. And Mark Lehman is arguably one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches ever.
genius. Definitely a genius.
When you see him, give him a hug from him. He's not going to want the hug because he's not that kind of guy. But you hug him and say, hey, YusefWateef sent you a hug.
Yeah, I'm gonna chase him down. I actually saw a video of him teaching in the gi at his academy. At an academy he teaches. I think he partnered with somebody, but I hear he's helping his parents out in Wisconsin and got a business going. So he's back in the game. He's had all kind of back issues, but yeah. But that was just a side note. That was just some information to figure out. I heard what you said was interesting. You were talking about. Have you ever heard the adage that if you read 3 books on any topic, you know more than 90% of the planet on that topic? That's fascinating.
I've heard that. I've heard it as few as 3 books. I've heard it as high as 6, but whatever the number is, it's obscenely low.
I can see that being the case because if you look at, if you take someone who, let's say, gets a degree in biochemistry, how many books do they actually read on biochemistry? Not the supplemental sciences that support it, but how many books actually read on biochemistry? Maybe 1 or 2. Ooh, I went out.
I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that fewer and fewer books are being read. I can tell you that fewer and fewer books are being read by people in university. I have younger relatives who are in university that flat out tell me they're reading sections of books, but as far as reading entire books, no, they're not reading entire books at all. Topaz, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking time out of your evening to pop in with us. I hope that you get a chance to contribute. Dave just showed up. Dave looks like he might be frozen. Let me make sure that, excuse me, let me make sure that he's okay with his technology. Let's try that again. He had to pop out. And I always take time, for the record, for those who don't know, and this is for the people that are new, I am not a YouTuber. I do not have a YouTube contract. Let me tell you how I make money. I'm in my second career. I'm an editor, copy editor, proofreader, writer. I do anything necessary with the English language. One of my biggest things right now is writing resumes for people, believe it or not. And I always want to tell people that I hope you join me on LinkedIn. As you can see, I do everything under my actual name. If you need anything edited, copy edited, proofread, ghostwritten, or ghostwrite for websites, let me know. You can contact me here, and I say, don't look at my resume. Look at it later, actually. The first thing I want everybody to look at when you do go all the way to the bottom, look at my recommendations. Look at what other business professionals have said about me, the level of work that I do, and how I conduct myself professionally, because that's what has made me so many professional contacts. That's what I want you to focus on. And what Dave was saying before he blinked out, and I'm sure he'll be back. Excuse me. I sent him a quick message. Before he blinked out, what he said is there is a theory. And now we can argue the number between 3 books or 6 books. For the record, let's go with a high number. Let's say 6 books. There is a theory that anyone who reads 6 books on any specific subject will only be outdone by a university professor on that subject, because so few people learn anything at all about a specific subject that if you read 6 books on, let's call it blacksmithing. I do backyard blacksmithing. You'll go into your first session of the blacksmith knowing tons more. If you read 6 books on, let's take an easy one, cryptocurrency, finance, you'll know more than anyone except a professor. If you read 6 books on a career that you're thinking about getting into, and I tell everybody, I believe in MOOC classes, I believe in learning second skills. Excuse me. If you read 6 books on any, and I mean any, second skill that you want to learn, you will be better off than almost any person other than a university professor. Most people won't do it. That's what makes the skill such a good one. That's what makes that tool such a brutal tool. And it dovetails right into what I was saying. I'm wondering what book Dave is writing now. Let me check my message to make sure that he got it. I hope his internet didn't cut off. Dave is one of those globetrotters. I didn't even get to ask him where he's messaging me from. He could be literally anywhere in the world right now. But yeah, that's what he talks about. He said reading all those books. And going back to what I was asking you to consider, excuse me, some of you might know I had been fighting off a cold for a few weeks there. If you do that, you're in the top 20%. Now, here's something I don't want you to do while you're considering this. Don't be a jerk. One of the things that happens, particularly those among us who didn't start where they are now, I'll use myself for an example. I was a fat kid, no luxurious mustache. I was a bedwetter. I got beat up a lot because I was a nerd, a square. I still am. I mean, still wearing my anime shirts, but it's not like it is now. See, y'all young folks don't know. When I was young, wearing a comic book or a Japanese anime shirt got you beat up. It wasn't cool then. That's okay. I'm glad I stuck it out. But what I see a lot of people like me end up becoming once they get a little money in their pocket, get a little education into their brain, they become jerks. They then go back to the same people. And by the way, the people who bully you the most, the people who look at you strangely the most are generally going to become the least accomplished in life. I actually did a piece. Let me see. Where is it? Here's something for you to chew on as I see. When bullies return, I had a bully come back into my life. send me a few messages and then disappear. And it was a very interesting conversation. You guys are welcome to. What I don't want you to do is become good at something, or become good at two things if you're really magic, and begin living that life that you want and become a jerk. I don't want you to get that righteousness that a lot of people who are good guys, and this is good guys and good girls, that a lot of good guys feel when they finally get towards the top of the mountain. When they finally get a little further in life, they genuinely feel like it's okay to ridicule the people who underestimated them, the people who didn't have the discipline. Instead, use it as a chance to extend the olive branch. Look at them and say, hey, I figured some things out in life. You're welcome to join me. Can I give you some of this information that I have because it helped me move down the road? Can I share with you the books I read? And when they talk about what it was like in the past, act like it didn't even happen. Success, just succeed, because once you become that jerk, once you look at them and say, look at what I've accomplished despite you, look at what I have, look at the discipline that's got me the trips around the world, the money I want, the body I want, you become the bad guy then. You become that person that people look at and say, who do you think you are? I'd much rather people be angry at me because when game time showed up and I looked at where I was in life, my successful living was its own reward. I want to say thank you. I don't think Dave will be able to join us. I think that he may be having some kind of a technical difficulty, which is always a shame because Dave is always a treat. As I said before, unless you guys have any questions in the side, I appreciate you coming. Please be sure to click subscribe. This channel has been growing phenomenally. And what was that? Thanks for the insight. It's easier said than done for me, but I don't know that that's the better path to take. Now, hold on a minute. Thanks for the insight. It's easier said than done for me, but I do know that, okay, I read that too quickly. It's the better path to take. It's tempting. It's tempting. I want to be clear. I'm not a great guy. I'm an average guy who did a few above average things, and those few above average things shot me into the stratosphere. It's tempting to look at the people that you left behind who underestimated you, who didn't know you had the discipline to learn the Hercules method as they did in Luther Strode, or to obtain the glow like they do in The Last Dragon, to look back at them and say, look at where I am now. Me, 90% of the time, I just ignore them. You know what, Prince Diamond? Thank you so much for that. For that compliment. Compliments will get you everywhere. He said, yes, man, you teach some good game. I'm going to have to do a discussion on what the nature of game is. For me, it's the game of life. But when you don't take it, how can I put it without sounding contradictory? When you don't realize it's all a game, not because you don't want to win, but because we're all just going to be dead one day anyway, it can do a lot for you up here. To say, I've only got this many moves on the board, so I'm just going to make them the best. Because the joke, the part that makes it all a game is that I know I won't be here forever. So I'm fortunate. I got a lot out of the life that I have so far. And one of the secrets that I learned from, again, one of the greater mentors that I had, give it away. When you've got some good information, give it away. I've had people come back to me and say, thank you, you gave me information and helped me make a few extra dollars. I've had people say, you've given me information that's helped me have a little bit of better life. I've had people hire me as a mentor. I've had people throw money into my cryptocurrency account. Excuse me. Be sure to click the show more button. By the way, I've got more information down there. Matter of fact, speaking of mentors, how to attract mentors was a discussion that we did that went down a few different paths, but turned into a great talk. And I hope all of you get the opportunity to take a few minutes and listen to it. So make sure you share this on your your Instagram or your Facebook or your Twitter. Connect with me on any of those. I'm the same person everywhere with my name. I also say, why don't you go ahead and pop this on your Tinder profile? Say, YusefWateef, why would I do that? And I'll say, listen, you can actually start a conversation with, listen, we both swiped on each other. So what are we going to do afterwards? Could we have some deep discussions like the ones they have on his channel? Now, maybe they'll laugh, maybe they won't. But you'll say something that nobody else is saying. And with that, I love you all, and I hope you have